The first time I realized my parents saw me as their personal ATM, I was 23 and had just landed my first real job in finance. My brother Caden's food truck venture had gone belly up, leaving him with $60,000 in debt. I still remember Mom's tearful phone call. "Martina, sweetie, we need to have a family meeting. I'm Martina, and I've spent my entire life being the responsible one." While Caden chased dreams of becoming the next tech mogul or celebrity chef, I was the kid who saved birthday money and worked summer jobs. The straight-A student who got a practical degree and built an emergency fund before even thinking about buying a new car. "It's just a temporary loan," Dad said that first time, his hand on Caden's shoulder. "Your brother has so much potential. He just needs a little help getting back on his feet." I emptied half my savings account that day. 2 years later, it was Caden's app development company. Another $40,000 down the drain. "Family helps. Family," Mom reminded me, lips trembling. "We've always been there for you, haven't we?" They had co-signed my student loans, after all. How could I say no? But today, sitting in our familiar living room with its faded family photos and the lingering smell of Mom's anxiety baking, something felt different. Maybe it was the way Caden couldn't meet my eyes, or how Mom's tears seemed rehearsed. "Third time's the charm, right?" Caden attempted a weak joke. The crypto market was just impossible to predict. "Honey," Mom leaned forward, clutching her coffee mug like a lifeline. "We know you've just gotten that promotion, and your savings account—" No. The word came out before I could stop it. The room went silent. Dad's newspaper crinkled as he lowered it slowly. "What did you say?" Mom's voice had lost its warmth. I said no. My hands were shaking, but my voice wasn't. "I can't keep doing this. I won't." "After everything we've done for you?" Dad's face reddened. "The loans we co-signed? The support we've given?" "Support?" I laughed, and it sounded foreign even to me. "You mean like when you told me to skip my friend George's wedding because Caden needed help moving into his new office?" "That's not fair," Caden protested. "I was starting a business." "And how did that work out?" The words tasted like freedom. 3 businesses, Caden. 3 failures. And every time, somehow, it's my responsibility to fix it." Mom stood up, her coffee mug clattering against the side table. "We're your family, Martina. Family sacrifices for each other." "Funny how I'm the only one making sacrifices." "You're being selfish." Dad's voice had that edge I'd learned to fear as a child. "Your brother has vision. He takes risks. What do? Play it safe? Count pennies?" "Those pennies paid for his food truck and his app, and now you want them for his crypto mistakes?" "It's not just about money," Mom's voice wavered. "It's about loyalty. Love." I stood up, gathering my purse. "Love shouldn't leave you broke." "Sit down," Dad commanded. "We're not finished." "I am." I headed for the door, my heart pounding, but my steps steady. "I'm done being the family piggy bank." "Martina," Mom's voice cracked, "don't you walk away from us." I paused at the door, looking back at them. Mom's perfectly practiced devastation, Dad's controlled rage, Caden's entitled confusion. How had I never seen it so clearly before? "I'm not walking away," I said quietly. "I'm just finally learning to say no." "That's very disappointing, Martina." Mom's voice had gone cold, that special tone she reserved for neighbors who didn't maintain their lawns. "But we have our ways of teaching lessons." I should have paid more attention to that threat. Should have noticed how Dad smiled slightly, how Caden suddenly couldn't hide his smirk. But in that moment, all I felt was relief. My phone buzzed as I got into my car. A text from Georgia. "How'd it go?" I typed back, "Finally said no. Feel like I might throw up." Her response was instant. "Proud of you. Come over. I have wine." As I drove away from my childhood home, I caught a glimpse of my parents in the window. They were already huddled together, probably planning their next move. I didn't know it then, but they were about to teach me exactly what happens when the family ATM closes for business, and I was about to teach them that every lesson comes with a price. The first missed payment notification came on a Tuesday. I almost missed it, buried between promotional emails and calendar reminders. But there it was. Urgent student loan payment overdue. This has to be a mistake, I muttered, dialing the loan servicer's number. After 20 minutes of hold music, a representative confirmed my worst fear. The co-signed portion of my loans hadn't been paid in 2 months. My hands shook as I pulled up my credit score app. The damage was already there, a 40-point drop. I felt sick. They wouldn't, I told Georgia over lunch. They co-signed. It hurts their credit, too. She set down her fork. The same people who let Caden drain your savings 3 times? They absolutely would. My phone buzzed. Another notification. Another missed payment. Call them, Georgia urged. Right now. Mom answered on the 4th ring, her voice breezy. Darling, I'm so glad you called. We're actually packing for our anniversary cruise. The loan payments, I said flatly. They're overdue. Oh, that. She sighed dramatically. Well, sweetie, with Caden's situation, we've had to make some difficult choices. We thought you'd understand, given how uncooperative you've been lately. Uncooperative? My voice cracked. You're deliberately tanking my credit score because I wouldn't give Caden more money. Don't be so dramatic. It's just temporary. Once you help your brother. Put Dad on the phone. He's busy packing, dear, but we'll send lots of pictures from the Caribbean. The line went dead. I stared at my phone, numb. They're blackmailing you, Georgia said quietly. You know that, right? I nodded, pulling up my banking app. The minimum payment would drain my grocery budget, but I couldn't let my credit score take another hit. As I processed the payment, another email popped up, this time from my credit card company. No, I whispered, opening it. No, no, no. What now? My credit limit's been slashed. They're citing missed payments on a small business loan? I scrolled through the email, my confusion turning to horror. I never took out a business loan. George's expression hardened. Check your credit report. Now. 20 minutes later, we stared at my laptop screen in silence. There it was. A $15,000 small business loan taken out 6 months ago, using my old joint account information. The one I'd forgotten to close after Caden's second failure. This is fraud, Georgia said. You need to report this. My phone chimed with a text. Mom had sent a photo, her and Dad on their cruise ship, cocktails in hand. The caption read, Some lessons must be learned the hard way. Love you. They're enjoying a luxury cruise while destroying my credit, I said, my voice hollow. They're actually celebrating it. Call your cousin Angelina, Georgia said, pulling out her own phone. She's a lawyer now, right? This isn't just toxic family drama anymore. This is illegal. I hesitated. They're still my parents? Are they? Georgia's voice was gentle but firm. Because parents don't commit identity theft against their children. They don't deliberately destroy their daughter's credit score as punishment. Another text from Mom. The ocean is gorgeous. Reminds me of that summer we couldn't take you to the beach because we had to help Caden with his food truck. Everything works out in the end. Something inside me hardened. I thought about all the sacrifices, all the family first guilt trips, all the times I'd emptied my accounts because that's what family does. I pulled up Angelina's contact info. What are you going to do? Georgia asked. They want to teach me a lesson? I started typing a message to Angelina. Fine. Let's see who learns what. My phone buzzed again. Dad this time. Your mother's upset. You're not responding to her messages. After everything we've done for you. I closed the message without responding. They thought they had all the power, sitting on that cruise ship, playing with my financial future like it was a game. But they'd forgotten something important. I worked in finance. I documented everything. And now, thanks to their own arrogance, they'd left a perfect paper trail. I need copies of everything, I told Georgia. Every text, every email, every transaction. They think they're teaching me about family loyalty? And what are you going to teach them? I looked at the cruise ship photo again, at their smug, carefree smiles. The consequences of betrayal. As I began forwarding documents to Angelina, another thought struck me. They'd chosen this particular moment for their cruise deliberately. They thought I'd be desperate by the time they returned, ready to give in to their demands. They had no idea what would be waiting for them instead. Angelina's office looked exactly like you'd expect, all sleek lines and leather chairs. But my cousin's face showed none of the intimidating coolness of her surroundings. Instead, she looked angry. Really angry. They did what? She flipped through the documents I'd brought, her professional demeanor cracking. A business loan in your name? Deliberately defaulting on co-signed loans? While they're on a cruise? Don't forget the texts, Georgia added from beside me. She'd insisted on coming along. Oh, I won't. Angelina pulled out her phone, scrolling through the screenshots I'd sent. These are actually perfect. They're practically confessing to financial abuse and fraud. Can we do anything? I asked. Can we? Angelina laughed, but there was no humor in it. Martina, they've given us everything we need. The only question is how hard you want to hit back. My phone buzzed. Another cruise photo. Mom and Dad at a fancy dinner. Caden somehow there with them. The caption? Family dinner. Wish you'd made better choices so you could join us. I turned the phone toward Angelina. Hit hard. She nodded, pulling out a legal pad. First, we file a police report for identity theft. That business loan? They forged your signature. That's criminal. Criminal? My voice shook. They could go to jail? They won't, Angelina assured me. But the threat will be real. Next, we contact the student loan company. Your parents deliberately defaulted as retaliation. We have the text to prove it. That's breach of contract. Georgia leaned forward. What about their credit scores? Oh, those are already tanking. Angelina smiled grimly. They just don't know it yet. But here's where it gets interesting. I had my assistant do some digging. Guess how they're paying for that cruise? I shook my head. With money from your student loan payments. They've been diverting them into a separate account under Caden's name. The room spun slightly. What? They've been collecting your payments but not applying them to the loans. That's theft, pure and simple. And it's all documented. My phone buzzed again. Caden this time. Mom says you're being difficult. Just help me out and this all goes away. Don't be so selfish. What do we do first? I asked Angelina. She was already typing on her computer. We file everything today. Police report, fraud claim, lawsuit. But we request delayed service. What does that mean? Georgia asked. It means, Angelina's smile was sharp, that they won't be served with the papers until they return from their cruise. Probably right as they're unpacking their souvenirs. They'll be blindsided, I whispered. Like they blindsided you? Georgia squeezed my hand. Good. Angelina printed several documents, sliding them across her desk. Sign these. Then we wait. That's it? For now. She leaned back. But Martina, there's something else you should know. The business loan they took out in your name? They used it to help Caden start his crypto venture. Of course they did. No, you don't understand. They didn't just commit fraud. They committed tax fraud. They claimed the loan under their business expenses while using your identity to secure it. My hands started shaking. What does that mean? It means the IRS might get involved, and they take this kind of thing very seriously. Another buzz from my phone. Mom again. Just saw the most beautiful sunset. Reminds me of how things can get dark before they get better. Hope you're learning your lessons, sweetheart. I signed the papers. As we left Angelina's office, Georgia turned to me. Are you okay? No, I admitted. But I will be. They're going to be furious. They're going to be broke, Angelina corrected, walking us out. The fines alone. Well, let's just say that cruise might be their last luxury purchase for a while. My phone buzzed one final time. Dad, your mother's worried sick about your attitude. Family is everything, Martina. Don't make us teach you that lesson twice. I turned off my phone. How long until they're served? I asked Angelina. She checked her calendar. They return next Tuesday. I've arranged for the papers to be delivered Wednesday morning. Give them just enough time to unpack. Perfect. I hugged her goodbye, then turned to Georgia. Want to come over and help me change all my passwords and freeze my credit? Absolutely. We'll make a night of it. As we walked to our cars, I felt lighter than I had in years. They thought they were teaching me about family loyalty. Instead, they were about to learn about consequences. And unlike their lessons, mine would come with receipts. Your credit score is already recovering, Georgia said, scanning my latest credit report. We'd spent the last week documenting everything, freezing accounts, and filing disputes. Amazing what happens when you fight back. My phone lay silent on the coffee table. I'd blocked their numbers 3 days ago, after Mom's latest guilt trip text. Your father's blood pressure is acting up. Hope you're happy with yourself. Angelina's call interrupted our credit monitoring session. You need to see this, she said without preamble. Can you come to my office? Now? 20 minutes later, we sat in her office while she pulled up bank statements on her monitor. Remember how they were diverting your loan payments? She turned the screen toward us. That was just the beginning. Look at these transactions. I leaned forward, scanning the numbers. These are from my old joint account. The one they used for the fraudulent business loan. Yes. Angelina highlighted several rows. See these transfers? They've been systematically moving money around between accounts for months. Your name is on half of these transactions, but you didn't make them. How much? Georgia asked quietly. Over $50,000 in the last year alone. Angelina sat back. They've been playing a shell game with your identity, Martina. Using your credentials to secure loans, then moving the money through different accounts to hide the trail. My stomach lurched. Why? If I had to guess? Angelina pulled up another document. To hide money from the IRS. Look at their reported income versus their spending. That cruise alone cost $20,000. $20,000? I felt dizzy. They said they couldn't help with my loan payments because money was tight. Money wasn't tight. Georgia's voice was hard. They were punishing you. My phone buzzed. A new email from Mom, bypassing the block. Just had the most wonderful massage at the spa. Remember when you wanted those college textbooks and we said we couldn't afford them? Life's funny that way. Miss you. Can we add this to the lawsuit? I asked Angelina. Already done. She handed me a fresh stack of papers. But there's more. The business loan they took out in your name? They used your signature from old college documents. That's forgery. What happens now? Now? Angelina smiled grimly. Now we wait. They return tomorrow night. The papers will be served Wednesday morning at 9 a.m. sharp. I've arranged for a process server who specializes in difficult cases. They'll try to avoid it, Georgia warned. Let them try. Angelina pulled up a calendar. The court date is already set. If they dodge service, they'll only make things worse for themselves. My phone buzzed again. Caden this time, from a new number. Hey sis, just wrapped up an amazing investor meeting here in Paradise. Sure could use your support to close the deal. Family first, right? I showed the message to Angelina. Perfect, she said, adding it to her file. He's admitting to conducting business while using fraudulently obtained funds. The IRS will love that. Will they go to jail? I asked again, my voice small. Probably not, Angelina assured me. But they'll face fines, credit destruction, and possible tax liens. Plus, they'll have to repay everything they took from you, with interest. They'll lose everything, I whispered. No, Georgia corrected gently. They'll lose what they stole. There's a difference. Another email from Mom. Your father says we raised you better than this silent treatment. Don't worry. We'll fix your attitude when we get home. Angelina read it over my shoulder and actually laughed. They have no idea what's coming, do they? Should I warn them? The words slipped out before I could stop them. Did they warn you before destroying your credit? Georgia asked. Did they warn you before committing fraud in your name? Angelina added. Did they warn you before stealing your loan payments? I shook my head. Then let them enjoy their last day in paradise, Angelina said, closing her laptop. Tomorrow they learn about consequences. As we left her office, I received one final email, from Dad this time. Just booked a sunset sailing trip to end our vacation. Shame you're not here to see it. But then again, you always did prefer hiding in your room counting pennies to living life. We'll fix that attitude of yours soon enough. I forwarded it to Angelina without comment. Want to come over tomorrow morning? Georgia offered. We can wait for the fireworks together. I nodded, suddenly exhausted. They really think they're coming home to teach me a lesson. They are, Angelina called from her doorway. Just not the one they planned. As I drove home, I realized something. For the first time since this started, I wasn't afraid. They'd played their hand, thrown away their advantage, all because they thought I would never fight back. Tomorrow, they'd learn how wrong they were. The first sign something was wrong came at 3 a.m., 6 hours before the papers were due to be served. My phone exploded with notifications. Emergency, Mom's text read. House disaster. Pipes frozen. Come now. I showed Georgia, who'd stayed over for moral support. They're home early. And desperate, she noted, reading the stream of increasingly frantic messages. Look at this. They're saying the power's out too. They left the heat off while they were gone, I realized. In February. And didn't pay the utility bills, Georgia added. Want to bet that money went to their cruise instead? Another text from Mom. Your father's trying to find a plumber, but no one's answering. This is what family is for. Come help now. I turned my phone off. They're trying to force a confrontation before the papers are served, Georgia said. You know that, right? I nodded, making coffee. We'd expected something like this, just not so early. Angelina had warned me they might try to establish contact first, to have leverage. At 7 a.m., the doorbell rang. I checked the peephole. Caden. Come on, sis, he called through the door. I know you're in there. The house is a mess. Mom's crying. Just come help fix it. I stayed silent. Real mature, he sneered. You know, this is why no one takes you seriously. Always hiding, always playing it safe. Must be lonely up there on your high horse. My phone buzzed with a text from Angelina. Don't engage. Server en route. Stay quiet. Caden kept talking. Remember when I needed help with the food truck? You acted all high and mighty then too, but you helped, because that's what family does. And now? Now you're just being selfish. Georgia squeezed my hand as I fought the urge to respond. Fine, he finally spat. Be that way. But don't come crying to us when you need something. Family works both ways, Martina. His footsteps retreated. I let out a breath I hadn't realized I was holding. At 8:45, Mom tried next. This time through email. The house is freezing. Your father's blood pressure is through the roof. If anything happens to him, it's on your head. Is this really how you want things to be? Over money? I forwarded it to Angelina without responding. At 8:55, Dad's turn. Your mother's heartbroken. The house is a disaster. All because you're throwing a tantrum over helping your brother. We raised you better than this. Georgia checked her watch. 5 minutes. My phone rang. Angelina. Servers in position. They're all at the house? Yes, I confirmed, trying to guilt me into coming over. Perfect. She paused. You sure you don't want to be there? I'm sure. At exactly 9 a.m., my phone lit up with a barrage of texts. What is this? How dare you? You're suing us? After everything we've done for you? Then came the calls. First Mom, then Dad, then Caden, then back to Mom. I let them all go to voicemail. They've been served, Angelina confirmed via text. All three of them. You should hear the screaming. Georgia poured more coffee. How long until they show up here? We didn't have to wait long. 20 minutes later, their car screeched into my apartment complex parking lot. I watched through the blinds as all three of them stormed toward my building. Martina! Dad's voice boomed through the door. Open up right now! You ungrateful little... Mom's voice cracked. We gave you everything. Real cute, sis, Caden added. Real cute. I walked to the door but didn't open it. The papers explain everything. I suggest you read them. Carefully. We're your family, Mom wailed. Family doesn't commit fraud, I replied calmly. Family doesn't steal loan payments. Family doesn't destroy credit scores for revenge. We were teaching you a lesson, Dad thundered. No, I said, my voice steady. You were breaking the law. The police report's been filed. The IRS has been notified. Your choice now is simple. Deal with this legally through our attorneys, or make it worse by harassing me. Silence. Then Caden's laugh, ugly and sharp. You're no longer welcome in this family. That works for me. I step back from the door. All further communication goes through my lawyer. Goodbye. I heard Mom's sob, Dad's curse, Caden's bitter laugh. Then footsteps retreating. Georgia hugged me as I finally let out a shaky breath. You did it. No, I said, checking my phone as Angelina confirmed they'd left. We're just getting started. The war had begun. And this time, I wasn't the one who would end up losing everything. The courthouse felt colder than I remembered. Georgia sat on my left, Angelina on my right, as we watched my parents and Caden file into the courtroom with their hastily hired attorney. They looked terrible, Georgia whispered. She wasn't wrong. 2 weeks of frozen pipes, unpaid utilities, and mounting legal pressure had taken their toll. Mom's designer outfit couldn't hide her exhaustion. Dad's hands shook as he arranged his papers. Caden just looked lost without his usual swagger. All rise, the bailiff called. Judge Martinez wasted no time. I've reviewed the evidence submitted. Quite frankly, I'm disturbed by what I'm seeing. Would the defendants care to explain these bank transfers? My parents' lawyer stood. Your Honor, this is a simple family misunderstanding. Misunderstanding? Angelina interrupted, rising. We have documented evidence of identity theft, loan fraud, and deliberate credit score sabotage. We have text messages proving retaliatory financial abuse. We have bank statements showing systematic theft of loan payments. Which part is a misunderstanding? Mom burst into tears. We were trying to help our son. By stealing from your daughter? Judge Martinez asked sharply. We co-signed those loans, Dad protested. We had every right. To deliberately default as punishment? The judge held up a printed text message. Some lessons must be learned the hard way. This was sent from a luxury cruise bought with diverted loan payments. Would you care to explain that? Silence. And this business loan, the judge continued, taken out using forged signatures and expired documents. Mr. and Mrs. Kelly, are you aware that's a federal offense? Their lawyer whispered something urgently. Dad's face went pale. Your Honor, Angelina stood again. We've also submitted evidence of possible tax fraud. The IRS has opened an investigation. This is ridiculous, Caden suddenly exploded. She's just jealous, because I'm the one with real business potential. She's always been like this, counting her pennies while I take actual risks. Sir, Judge Martinez's voice could have frozen fire. Those risks were funded by theft and fraud. Would you like to explain these bank transfers to your personal account? Caden sat down hard. Your Honor, my parents' lawyer tried again. My clients are willing to make restitution. With what money? Angelina asked. They spend it all on cruises and failed business ventures. That's why we're requesting an immediate asset freeze and— Granted, Judge Martinez cut in. All accounts connected to this case are hereby frozen pending full investigation. Additionally, I'm issuing a temporary restraining order against all 3 defendants. You can't do this, Mom wailed. We're her parents. Parents who committed documented fraud, the judge replied coldly. Parents who deliberately destroyed their daughter's credit as revenge for not funding another failed business venture. Parents who stole loan payments while enjoying luxury vacations. Would you like me to continue? More silence. The evidence of criminal activity is overwhelming, Judge Martinez continued. I'm referring this case to the district attorney's office. Additionally, all assets will remain frozen until full restitution is made. We'll lose everything, Dad whispered. You already lost everything, I said, speaking for the first time. Every head turned toward me. You lost it the moment you decided to betray your daughter. Martina! Mom reached toward me, mascara streaking her cheeks. Sweetie, we can fix this. As a family? We're not a family anymore. My voice was steady. You made sure of that. The judge's gavel cracked like thunder. This court orders full financial restitution, plus punitive damages. All assets remain frozen. The restraining order is in effect immediately. And, she peered at another document. Given the evidence of tax fraud, I'm forwarding all documentation to the IRS Enforcement Division. As we stood to leave, Caden tried one last time. Sis, come on. You're really going to do this to us? I turned to face them. My mother's tears, my father's anger, my brother's disbelief. No, I said clearly. You did this to yourselves. Outside the courthouse, Georgia hugged me while Angelina made calls to ensure the asset freeze took immediate effect. They're going to lose the house, Georgia said softly. They lost me first, I replied. They just didn't think it mattered. My phone buzzed. One final email from Mom. You've destroyed this family. I hope you're happy with yourself. No one will ever love you like we did. I showed it to Angelina, who added it to her file. Perfect. More evidence of harassment for when we extend the restraining order. As we walked to our cars, I heard Caden's voice behind us. You win, sis. But that's why no one loves you. I didn't turn around. Didn't need to. They thought this was about winning or losing, about love or hate. They still didn't understand. This was about justice. And justice, unlike family loyalty, doesn't play favorites. The foreclosure notice went up on my parents' house exactly 1 month after the court hearing. I drove past it on my way to meet Georgia for lunch, the bright orange paper stark against the white door they'd always kept perfectly painted. They're staying with Caden, Georgia told me over salads, in his studio apartment. How do you know? Your mom's been posting on Facebook. Long rants about ungrateful children and family loyalty. She's getting quite a following. My phone buzzed. Angelina. Turn on the local news. Now. Georgia pulled it up on her phone just in time to see Caden being led out of a startup incubator in handcuffs. The headline scrolled beneath. Local entrepreneur arrested for investment fraud. What happened? I asked when Angelina called back. Remember that investor meeting he had on the cruise? Turns out he was using your stolen identity to secure investments for another fake company. The FBI got involved. I set down my fork. The FBI? Wire fraud across state lines, Angelina explained. Plus, they found evidence of money laundering through that crypto venture he started with your forged business loan. It's federal now. Georgia squeezed my hand as I processed this. You okay? Before I could answer, my phone lit up with a text from an unknown number. Are you happy now? Your brother's going to jail because you couldn't keep your mouth shut. Dad. I blocked the number. They still think this is about happiness, I said to Georgia. About revenge, isn't it? No. I pushed my salad away. It's about consequences. They're just meeting them for the first time. My email pinged. a message from the IRS confirming my whistleblower statement. They'd launched a full investigation into my parents' finances. The preliminary findings weren't pretty. "Your mom's been posting again," Georgia said, checking her phone. "She's starting a GoFundMe for Caden's legal fees. Says it's all a big misunderstanding." "Is she mentioning the fraud?" "Nope. Just talking about how families should stick together through hard times." I laughed, but there was no humor in it. Funny how that only applies when they need something. My phone buzzed again. Another unknown number. "The police just took your father to the hospital. His blood pressure. But you don't care, do you? You never did." "Mom." I forwarded it to Angelina before blocking that number too. "More harassment?" Georgia asked. "They're getting desperate." I pulled up my banking app, checking my restored credit score. The IRS froze their retirement accounts this morning. "Good." Georgia's voice was hard. "They stole your money, destroyed your credit, and committed fraud in your name. They deserve everything they're getting." My phone rang. Angelina again. "Just got word from the DA's office. Caden took a plea deal. He's giving them everything." "Everything?" "Every fraudulent transaction. Every forged document. Every scheme your parents helped him with. He's throwing them under the bus to save himself." I closed my eyes. "How long will he serve?" "With the plea?" 2 years, minimum." "Your parents?" "That depends on the IRS investigation." Another email notification. My mother had tagged me in a Facebook post. "When your own child betrays you for money, you realize what matters most. Family." Except she was never really family, was she? Just a selfish little girl who couldn't see past her bank account. "They still don't get it," I told Georgia after reading it aloud. "They really think this is about money. Isn't it?" "No." I pulled up the court documents on my phone. It's about trust, about truth, about finally saying enough. My phone buzzed one last time. Caden, from jail. "Hey, sis. Guess you won after all. Hope you're happy being right. No one's ever going to love you like we did." I showed Georgia the message before blocking his number too. "He's wrong, you know," she said quietly. "Real love doesn't steal from you. Real love doesn't destroy you to help someone else. Real love doesn't come with conditions." Outside the restaurant, we could hear sirens in the distance. My phone lit up with a news alert. "Local couple under investigation for years of financial fraud." "They're going to lose everything," I said. "No," Georgia corrected. "They're going to lose what they stole, what they lied about, what they never really earned. There's a difference." I nodded, thinking about all the years I'd spent being the responsible one, the reliable one, the family ATM. All the guilt trips, all the manipulation, all the family first lectures. "Ready to go?" Georgia asked. "Yeah." I stood up, leaving enough cash to cover both our meals. "I have a condo viewing this afternoon. Now that my credit's restored, I can finally get my own place." As we left, I saw one final Facebook notification from my mother. "Sometimes the people you love most are the ones who hurt you deepest. But family forgives. When she's ready to apologize, we'll be here." I logged out of Facebook, deleted the app, and drove away without looking back. The keys to my new condo felt heavy in my hand as I stood in the empty living room. Sunlight streamed through the windows, casting long shadows across the hardwood floors I'd fallen in love with during the viewing. "First box goes in the kitchen or bedroom," Georgia called from the doorway, carrying a moving container. "Kitchen," I decided. "Let's get the essentials unpacked first." My phone buzzed. Angelina with an update. "Your parents took a deal, paying full restitution plus penalties. No jail time, but they're liquidating everything. Caden's sentencing is next week." I set the phone down without responding and helped Georgia unpack dishes. "Still no word from them?" she asked. "Only through their lawyer." I arranged glasses in the cabinet. They had to sell the house. Dad's car too. Mom's designer clothes are all on some consignment site. Good. Georgia started breaking down empty boxes. They're lucky they avoided jail. The doorbell rang. Angelina with housewarming wine and takeout. Thought you could use dinner between unpacking. We sat on the floor, sharing Chinese food straight from the containers. The IRS finished their audit, Angelina mentioned between bites. Found evidence of fraud going back 5 years. They're garnishing your dad's wages until everything's paid back. Including what they stole from me? Every penny. She pulled out her phone. The first restitution payment hit your account this morning. I nodded, not checking the balance. The money didn't matter anymore. Have you seen the house listing? Georgia asked. No need. I took another bite of lo mein. That part of my life is over. The doorbell rang again. Through the peephole, I saw Caden's girlfriend. Ex-girlfriend now, I supposed. Hey, she said when I opened the door. I found these in his apartment while cleaning it out. Thought you should have them. She handed me a stack of papers. Old birthday cards I'd written him, photos from family vacations, even the business plan I'd helped him write for the food truck. He kept everything you ever gave him, she said quietly, even while he was stealing from you. After she left, I sat with the pile in my lap, not really seeing it. You okay? Georgia asked. They taught me about family, I said finally, about loyalty, about sacrifice, but they never taught me about boundaries, about self-respect, about saying no. So you taught yourself, Angelina noted. And them, Georgia added. My phone lit up with a news notification. Local family ordered to pay $157,000 in restitution for financial fraud. They're living in some extended stay motel now, Angelina mentioned. Your mom's still posting on social media about forgiveness and family loyalty. Still not mentioning the fraud? Georgia asked. Never does. I stood up, gathering the papers Caden's ex had brought. Without hesitation, I dropped them in the recycling bin. That's new, Georgia observed. You used to keep everything? Used to do a lot of things, I replied. Used to feel guilty for saying no. Used to think love meant letting people hurt you. Used to think family meant having no boundaries. And now, the sunset painted my new living room in shades of gold. My living room, bought with my money, protected by my boundaries. Now I know better. My phone buzzed one final time. A message from Dad's new number. Your mother's crying again. We lost everything because you couldn't forgive. Hope you're happy in your new place. We drive by sometimes, remembering when you were still our daughter. I showed Angelina the text before blocking this number too. Want me to add it to the harassment file? She asked. No need. I walked to the window, looking out at my view. They still think this was about forgiveness, about punishment, about choosing money over family. Wasn't it? Georgia asked softly. No. I turned back to my real family, the friend who'd supported me, the cousin who'd fought for me. It was about choosing myself. Maybe for the first time ever. We finished unpacking as night fell, transforming the empty space into something that felt like home. Not the home I'd grown up in, with its hidden costs and conditional love, but something better, something honest. Ready for bed? Georgia asked, gathering her things to leave. Almost. I walked through each room, testing light switches, checking locks, making sure everything was secure. Protected. Mine. In the kitchen, I found the last moving box, labeled Family Photos, in my careful handwriting. I hadn't opened it yet. Wasn't sure I would. Some lessons, after all, are better left in the past. I turned off the lights and walked to my bedroom, my space, my sanctuary, my choice. They taught me about obedience. I taught them about consequences. And finally, beautifully, I taught myself about freedom.